She has been working as the managing director for PwC in San Francisco, heading their global think tank on the M&A side and on the transaction advisory side. She has been actively coordinating the activities of this group in America, getting all the different IIMs together. Earlier there were some interactions happening between individual IIMs, but I think this is the first time where on a mass scale people are being brought together, so that if we all combine, we make a bigger brand and we project a bigger image, which is beneficial to each member within the group as well. So I think hats off to her and her initiative, which brought this whole thing together. And a round of applause for her. So her energy and drive sets an example for a lot of youngsters like us. She's taken a flight at probably 5:30 today morning. She's landed here 7:30. So she's been driving us all day through. So I think this is an example for us, and and also a lesson for some of the younger batches to learn from, and hopefully keep those relationships going forward in future as well. So with that, I invite Ashima to the stage and explain a little bit about the vision and do a round of introduction. Who is in the room? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Funny, and welcome everyone. It's so good to see some familiar faces and also good to see some new faces here. This is a third conference, annual conference we have in LA. We had the first one in this room. Then last year we had one in southern part of California, and then we came back here. And I think next year, Prakash and Amita and I, we're thinking we'll do it in Cerritos maybe, because that'll be kind of in between. So the southerners cannot say, oh, you guys are too north, and the northerners cannot say, oh, you guys are too south. I would just like to point out, by the way, I flew in from San Francisco. So guys, if I can make it from San Francisco, surely you can make it in this area. But we're going to make it easier and simpler. Now, LA is a relatively smaller chapter for us. The population of the IIM alumni is relatively small. So this is a cozier group. But I think it makes sense to have this so that at least it gives a chance for people to connect and reconnect on an annual basis. What do I press? I'll do the good old-fashioned technique. So, a little bit about the IIMs. By the way, has everyone had their coffee, their tea? Because I know this is the food coma time. You've had your sugar high? Okay. There's tea and coffee at the back, so feel free to help yourselves. Before we get started, I really want to acknowledge that we are from the IIMs, and the way we do it is, and some of you know this because I do it at every conference, I will say, I am Katempo, and what do you guys say? Hi here. There you go. Now I have the mic, so I have the power, but I want to feel the power of the room. Okay? So shall we have a competition? I with the mic and you guys with the power of the people. Okay? All right. Are we ready? Yes. I am Katempo. Jada high nahi hai. Let's try once again. I am Katempo. That's better. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We have about 7,500 alumni in US and Canada. And this organization, the Pan-IIM Alumni Organization, we used to call it IIM USA. And then when we started our chapter in Canada, the Canadians said, look, shouldn't we call it IIM Americas? And we said, sure, it makes sense. So last year we formally dissolved IIM USA and we incorporated IIM Americas. And IIM Americas is a not-for-profit. We've gotten a not-for-profit status. And it took some legalese to get through, but the Chuk firm, which is a really good friend of IIM Americas, helped us steered us through this process. we have an 8-member board. They're drawn from A, B, C, L, I. We are still looking for people from the other IIMs. And the way we do that is, as we go around to each chapter, we see who are interested and consistently performing and really can devote the time, because the board meets once a month. We do our financials once a month. We have a lot of initiatives, so it does mean a little bit of commitment of time. But if you want that experience, and it's a very rewarding experience, please let us know, and then we'll make things happen. Okay? Now we have 13 chapters and sub-chapters. So that you can see that the list of chapters starting from A right down to W. The chapters that are highlighted those are the major chapters. There, when we generally have an annual conference. The ones that are not highlighted have a smaller population, and there typically it's social events and that kind of networking that's happening there. We have an event in a city almost every month in the year. The only 2 months where we don't have a conference, and when I say event, I mean a formal conference. The only 2 months where we don't have a conference is July and December, because typically those are the holiday months. So we just did a big event in New York, New Jersey, and Manhattan last month. There were 150 plus people who attended. We have the LA, the Southern California here. And in Boston, our next event will be on November 15th. And with Boston typically happening in November, December we shut down, and then January we start our events again. So that's kind of what we do. Now, we have a number of very, very interesting initiatives going on. One is advisory board. So thus far we had just our own board, and now we feel that we're at a stage where we can now have an advisory board. And so if you have suggestions about who should be on our advisory board, these should obviously be well-known people who will increase the brand of the organization by lending their name to the organization, and their takeaway would be that they're getting to interact with a bunch of really smart people, a bunch of people who are really thought leaders and movers and shakers, right? So if you have any suggestions, do please let me know. We also started an entrepreneurship group. Now this is something very exciting. When I came to the US in '97, typically the IIM alumni were corporate guys. They were investment bankers. But I see over the last 3 or 4 years, the trend is changing. We have many more entrepreneurs coming up. And so we said it's time now to start the entrepreneurship group. Now, being on the West Coast and being in Silicon Valley, there are lots of entrepreneurship groups. The different thing about this group is this is just for the IIM alumni. And so here is a group which understands the kind of backgrounds we have, which understands what our DNA is. Can we therefore be part of this group? Now, this group is for entrepreneurs to begin with, not wantrepreneurs. Okay? Wantrepreneurs are those who are sitting in their chairs thinking, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur someday. But to get this group started, first it's going to be composed of entrepreneurs. Let's see what's common among the entrepreneurs. Are we providing value to the entrepreneurs? And then use that, leverage that to then expand their knowledge and their experiences to the bigger community, and then invite the wantrepreneurs. So that's how we're kind of thinking at a very high level. Now, there's several of you who are entrepreneurs here, who are serial entrepreneurs here, who are investors and so on. So if you think it'll be interesting for you to be part of this group, to be part of building something from ground up, please do let me know. Okay? So that's the entrepreneurship group we have. Our digital footprint, I'm so proud our webmaster couldn't be here today. He's Hazura Singh. He was there last year. He flies planes, and he and I flew royally in his plane when we had our conference last year, but he's traveling this weekend. Great webmaster. He set up our presence on Facebook, on YouTube. So YouTube has all the videos that we've shot. In fact, we're also shooting the video for this event. When you signed up for this, in small print it says we have the right to shoot pictures and videos from this event, and we post them. We are on Twitter. We have our website. All the information is there. So and on LinkedIn. So we worked hard on that. We are focusing on community service because some of you told us that yes, it's nice to have a conference. It's nice to have an entrepreneurship group. it's nice to do all, but we also want to give back to the community. So whether it is junior achievement, whether it is any other stuff that's happening in your part of the world or your part of the country, if you want to run with something, if you want to invite the alumni to participate in that, just let us know, and we will make that happen. Mentorship, huge initiative. Now, there's one request that I make of mentees. I think most of us really don't know how critical mentors are and how important their time is and how generous they're being when they say, look, I'm ready to be a mentor. Because they have achieved a position in life where they have a gazillion things to do, but something in them still wants them to be mentors. And so when a person is coming up and saying, I will be a mentor, the one ask I have of the mentee is, think through carefully how you want to use the time with your mentor. Think of this like you have 15 minutes with the President of the United States. How are you going to use those 15 minutes? And if you put that perspective in mind, that's when you'll be ready with what is it you want to discuss. You'll get most out of the mentor, and the mentor-mentee relationship starts with a very solid footing, because each person can then display or can illustrate or can actually show, we are not here to waste each other's time. We are here to build a solid relationship, and we respect each other's time. So I get plenty of emails, and mentorship is very near and dear to me. I get several emails, some of them will be pages long, and I'm looking for 2 sentences. Why is this person reaching out to me for what? So remember, brevity and focus your thoughts. That's for the mentees. Now for those who want to be mentors, think about the time when you needed mentors, okay? Think about the time when others were mentors to you, how generous they were with their time. Be a little patient, help the mentee become a good mentee. And for me personally, I find the mentee-mentor relationship is very rewarding, because when I see my mentee grow, my ROI is my satisfaction. And maybe there is a different thing that you know drives you, but what I find is over time the mentee-mentor relationship changes, and I have found some